Scorpio, welcome to your end of September 2019 general tarot reading. It's Rena here. I almost said end of November. So let's see what we've got here. It's funny, a couple of cards I see are sticking together as I'm shuffling. Wow. Talk about major happenings. Oh my goodness gracious. Of course, you know, I don't know, maybe some of you won't do it. Sometimes people, well, how come we can't see the cards as you're picking them? And in this particular case, I just chose to do it as I'd been shuffling and I just like picked them because then it's an extra step I don't have to take. Okay, so the heart of the matter is the Magician card, which is the card, this is one of my favorite cards because it's the card of alchemy. It's the card of self, you know what word came to me, which it really, I wouldn't really say that the Magician card connects to, is self-transformation. And that's actually a theme of Scorpio, is transformation. But that did come to me. So one of the things that you learn about tarot reading is that you don't always have to go by the book. You should mention what you personally feel. And so it is a card of self-empowerment for sure. And self-reliance, resourcefulness. So you're like not saying I need somebody else's resources to do what I have to do. I can do this on my own. It can just be, I mean, if you're in a relationship situation, it can be, I don't need that person in my life anymore. I can do it. You know, I thought of that song, I Will Survive, you know. And, you know, I really, that's like one of my favorite disco songs, I Will Survive. And one of the things about that song that's so nice about it is it's all about relying on oneself. And that can be very uplifting when you feel that sense of like, oh, I need somebody to help me to live life. No, actually, you are my partner, but you're not my life vest. You know, you don't keep me afloat. We're partners. We're like two people journeying through life together. And so that's how I choose to see partnership. But I really get a strong vibe of money and maybe career matters. I don't know. Maybe, I'm sorry. Maybe this, it's almost like, could be inheritance issues, strangely enough. I don't know how the Magician would work into that. Because the past position is the Ten of Pentacles. This can be family money. And with the Magician, it's almost like, yeah, I mean, maybe not inheritance, but help from the family. And you had that before, and now you're standing on your own 2 feet. Could that be what's going on? I guess I'm seeing the Justice card too. You know, maybe even after a divorce, something to do with shared resources or, you know, child support, who's going to provide for our child, what have you, things of that nature. But the Magician card is at the center of all of this. So whatever is going on around you, Scorpio, you are realizing maybe this is a new thing for you, or maybe this is something you've had to revisit, that you are in charge of your life. that nobody else is. And not that you necessarily didn't know this about life, but perhaps you forgot. Perhaps you were in a situation where you were always financially taken care of because you were married and you were raising a child and you didn't work outside of the home. Maybe it was one of those deals. Or perhaps you were accepting money from your family even as an adult, and you realized that it came with a price. You know, a lot of people don't really put two and two together. It could start when you're in college and your parents sent you money. They're paying for the college, maybe too. And then they send you money for spending money and say, don't get a job. Then you won't be able to you won't be able to take care of your studies properly. Here, we'll give you money each week. And then you decided to change your major and they didn't like that. Or maybe you went along with the program until you graduated and you went into a different direction, and then all of a sudden you realized that they were manipulating you with money. And you are emerging as an independent individual. You notice that the Magician card is numbered 1. That isn't an accident. That is right on time. The tarot cards connect with numerology. So there's energy in numbers, just like we talk about these other things, in symbols, numbers, and of course numbers are symbols. So that's one of the things that is very interesting. And the Magician card also connects with Aries, which is the first house of the zodiac. Now, Aries energy is very independent. There's almost a defiance with Aries, but it's like, I'm going to be an individual. I'm going to do things my own way. And Aries is ruled by Mars, so there's courage. And Scorpio is also ruled by Mars and Pluto, but Mars as well. So speaking of that, so that's why I say, you know, there's courage with Scorpios as well. The higher message is the Tower card. And I once remarked that I thought that the Tower card should be Uranus because of this, you know, sometimes this can be like a surprise situation that just kind of turns your life upside down. But somebody said to me, oh no, this is actually connected to Mars. So I can't remember, I mean, I think so, or I might have said that should be Pluto or something like that. Okay, so the higher message is the Tower card. And to me, the first thing that I'm thinking of with this card, as the spiritual message is that life is not something that we can predict. So in other words, if we play it too safe, thinking that if we go along with the program that we're going to be spared what the Tower represents, that is a huge mistake, because honestly, I feel like there is a happy medium, but where you're not like living in chaos. Obviously, that's not the answer either, and taking foolish risks. But with the Tower card, it's like, you know, change is part of life. First of all, we know that. But the bottom line is that not only is change inevitable, but if you believe, like I believe, that we are here for expansion, then we have to step outside of our comfort zone. We can't be in a rut where we're just doing the same thing day after day and never sticking our neck out, because that could lead to stagnation in life. And actually, that doesn't stop those Tower moments. It only makes them harder to manage, because you're trying everything you can to avoid them. So you're just kind of living a very myopic life. And that tends to create the need for that change, but it's coming to like chaotically. It's not coming because you're like leading it forth. You know, I think of the magician as the person who is trying to co-create their reality based on where they are right at this moment. The deck I was using, I don't know if it was Scorpio. I almost feel like it was when I was using that, my new deck, and it didn't have the depiction that this card does of the elements on the table that are supposed to, I think they're supposed to represent earth. Pentacles would be earth or material resources. We got the cups, that's you, water, emotions. Anybody know what the rose stands for? And then the knife, there's the air sign, the intellect. I don't know, the rose, what's the last one would be fire. But the only thing that is a common trait is the red color. But in any case, the point being that being a conscious co-creator means that you are approaching life from a proactive perspective, Scorpio. You're not waiting for things to change. You're actually making them happen. So whatever's going on, and if this meant breaking away from somebody's money, from, whatever is going on, or even like, the Ten of Pentacles can be like a high-paying job, and saying, I can't be somebody else's I can't be like a corporate slave. I have to do things my own way. That could be what's happening as well. And I could see a Scorpio person easily doing this because you have that gumption. That's what they used to call it, gumption. Cojones is the modern version. The card that crosses you is the High Priestess. This is, of course, a spiritual card, but it's also like a passive card. And this is kind of like sometimes the challenge in one's life is to be able to make change and do it passively. You know what I thought of? I thought of Gandhi and Martin Luther King Jr., these great leaders who practice passive resistance. And I think that they both would be under that term, because it's like they were not being aggressive. And not to say that there's never a time when that is, but they were pacifists. So they didn't believe in violence to achieve as an ends to a means, and ends to the mean. That's kind of like what you may be. I'm sorry, I'm getting distracted because I'm going ends to a means. Ends to, that sounded weird. But with you, Scorpio, because you're comprised of like these two ornery planets, Mars and Pluto, it may be difficult in a lot of ways to be passive, even though you're a feminine sign. And the High Priestess is certainly a feminine energy. People think passive means something bad. It means inactive. It means not acting in a situation. You can't always act. The people that are always acting when they are faced with some kind of challenge are the types who can be very controlling, who can be very aggressive. And sometimes you have to surrender to whatever your situation is. If you are somebody who wants, like the magician, to have more control over your life, Scorpio, you may have to first and foremost surrender to the present moment, to what is actually occurring that you are so resistant to. And that may seem kind of paradoxical, but only when you release resistance to what is can you begin to heal your life. This was actually something I read in a book that a lot, you know, it was called, it's really great. I barely have skimmed the surface. It's called How to Heal When No One Else Can Heal You, or something like that. And the author was talking about how she was, you know, going to all these doctors and all this stuff, and about how we have to let go, you know, to surrender into it, because you're trying so hard to get rid of the problem that it creates resistance. And it's kind of like, you know, not accepting what is in this moment. And the Tower can be this sense of liberation, but it can also, for a fixed sign like Scorpio, feel like you don't have control over your own life. And the High Priestess is like, be still and know, and understand where true power lies. Does it lie from flexing your muscles, or does it lie from being like an immovable rock, where you are not pushed by the winds of change? What's coming in is a Justice card. This can be receiving, you know, some kind of a judgment. Perhaps this has been, you know, with a money situation, and you have been waiting to find out. But even regardless of what happens, the Magician card suggests becoming more autonomous in your life, so that you're not dependent on outer circumstances to make or break you. The Judgment card is also about balance, about fairness in life. And the outcome, if you're looking for money, cha-ching, the Ace of Pentacles, there's that portal, you know, maybe money to start a whole new life. Maybe this is something you've been waiting for quite a while, Scorpio. And being able to appreciate what you went through to get here. So you may receive money from some other source outside of you. Maybe you're gifted money, but don't forget that you are the alchemist and that you hold the key to your transformation. Okay, that's what I have for you, Scorpio. I hope that you enjoyed this. If you'd like a personal reading, the link is below. Take care. Bye.